I was just reading this article here about Anthony Joshua detailing his training camp with Robert Garcia for the Usyk rematch. And there was something interesting he said here. He said, I cycle from the gym to the hotel. Me and Rob, as in Rob McCracken, would walk in and do skipping, shadowboxing pads in the bag. He would obviously say things like hands up or slip there. But Angel and Robert Garcia break things down more. I might get told, in this round, perfect that jab. The goal in this round is to get that jab popping. The next goal is to tilt more when you throw the right hand. It's more tactical like that. So there is reasoning behind the method. It's a lot to remember. It can be a bit brain fatiguing, but nothing will fatigue me more than being in that ring and going through it for 12 rounds for real. So I have to go through it. This time around, rather than taking control, I learned that what I want is not as important as what the coach wants. The coach has to be able to work in an environment where he can teach me. I was willing to hand over the reins to guys and say, we need to work on X, Y, and Z, but I want you guys to make the decisions. I am a sponge. I will learn from everyone, so I let them control the environment, and as long as it is a happy environment, I'll get a good workout. I respect Garcia highly. That's why his name was initially on the list, because of his name and credentials and experience. But I am happy with whatever my team decides. I can only get my confidence from my preparation and sparring. A coach can tell a fighter a million good things, but if he doesn't do them, then it's pointless. Okay, so those are the words of AJ. And to pick up on a couple of things that he said that it can be mentally fatiguing being told all these different things in training camp in terms of adjusting his technique and tactics and so on. Now, the way I see this Usyk rematch in my head, AJ doesn't need to spend a load of time trying to change a bunch of things about his style. I think that the tactics for this fight need to be pretty straightforward, where they're not really changing that much about his technique. They're just changing the tactics and changing the mentality. I think that's what the focus needs to be. Because if you try and change too many technical things, you can overwhelm, as AJ alluded to there, and confuse a fighter. Now, I'm not trying to question Robert Garcia's ability as a trainer here, but one thing I know is that not every trainer is the perfect fit for, there's no trainer, should I say, that's the perfect fit for every fighter. So there have been great trainers in the past, from Manny Stewart to, some people would say Cus D'Amato, etc. You couldn't give every single great fighter to Manny Stewart and every single great fighter to Cus D'Amato and have them get the best out of that fighter. Not just because the style they teach wouldn't necessarily work for every fighter, but also their psychological approach might not work for every fighter. They might not know which buttons to push. They might not know what a fighter will respond well to or respond badly to by way of a psychological approach. You know, some fighters are going to be able to absorb a lot of information very quickly. Other fighters are going to get overwhelmed by it and confused. So you have to know your fighter well. And in this instance, maybe AJ will be able to take all that data in and apply it in the gym and apply it in the fight to good effect. But I don't want to say get concerned, but, I always look at situations like this and think, is this going to be detrimental to him? Having all this different information and them trying to change a little bit too much about his technique. It remains to be seen, of course, but I thought that was interesting. Another thing which I find interesting is this story here about AJ running through the streets of Jeddah as he gets ready for the Usyk rematch. Now, I lived in the Middle East for a number of years, long time ago, over a decade ago. This was before it became fashionable to live in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and what have you. I was living out there for a number of years. And I've traveled to many places in the world. I've been all over Europe. I've been to the United States, South America, Middle East, obviously, the Caribbean, obviously, Africa, and so on. There is nowhere that I've been that can match the insane heat that I experienced in the Middle East. Nowhere. Okay, out of the places I've been, nowhere even comes close. Been to Turkey as well, by the way. Nowhere comes close. And by Middle East, obviously, it's a fairly big region. I was in the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and the hottest place that I ever was on the coast in Qatar during the summer, and it was close to 50 degrees Celsius. The humidity by the coast is insane. I mean, it's just insane. I've never experienced anything like it. I know some people are saying that it's really hot in Britain at the moment. Trust me, in Britain right now, it's chilly. All right. I've been in Britain for many, many years, lived in Britain most of my life and experienced many hot summers. 2020 was a hot summer in Britain. Okay. So unless this summer is way, way hotter, and when I left Britain, it was relatively hot, but whatever, you will not have experienced anything close to what it could get like in the Middle East. It's like unbelievable heat. Even where I am right now, yeah, I'm not in the Middle East now, but I'm in a different country, in a tropical country. It's in the low 30s. The sun here at 32, 33 degrees feels a lot hotter on your skin than than the same temperature in Britain, basically. I'm not sure why that is. Is it to do with the pollution in London and there being more atmosphere? But I traveled all over. I've been to the South Coast where there's far less pollution. And again, 32 degrees there, the sun doesn't sizzle on your skin. It doesn't feel as hot on your skin as it does here. So I'm not sure what's going on there. The air temperature may be the same, but it feels a lot hotter. And it isn't even the humidity, because here it's not even, I would say here it's a bit more humid than the UK, but nothing crazy. Yeah, it's not like an extreme amount more humid. But the sun just feels cleaner. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like it hits your skin directly and there's nothing in between to filter it out. Whereas in the UK, you don't really get that feeling. And those of you who have traveled to different parts of the world, you probably know what I'm talking about. In any event, the Middle East, absolutely insane heat. The humidity, I mean, I've never experienced anything like it before or since. Certainly not in the Caribbean or anywhere like that, or where I am now. The humidity in the Middle East is insane. Absolutely insane. With that being said, AJ is in Jeddah, which is not on the coast. So, and I've never been to Saudi Arabia. I've never been that far inland in that region. So maybe there it's a lot drier and isn't as humid. The long preamble here, but the point I want to make is it can drain you training in that kind of heat when you're not used to it. It can really deplete you so that when you get in the ring, even though you're used to the heat because you've been out there for a number of weeks, you've left it all running in the streets, doing the road work and what have you. I mean, look at AJ's face here. He's straining. I mean, he's proper straining. Now, maybe he spent enough time out there over the years that he's gotten used to it and he's done all the training and what have you, and it won't be a problem. But it's just another thing to consider. Because when I went out there and I was training, I mean, I could do an hour straight, especially back then, an hour straight, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours on the bag, throwing big power shots. And I'm a heavyweight. That's when I was really in good shape. But when I went out there, bro, 15 minutes, I was done. And that's at night, never mind the daytime. I mean, daytime, forget about it. Now, obviously, the longer I was out there, the more and more I could do, but I could never get up to like an hour in the middle of the summer when it's like 45 degrees and stuff like that, crazy humidity. I could never get close to the length of time I could do in the UK, even in the summer in the UK in a hot gym with no air conditioning. I've been in those. And it don't feel the same, bro. It would drain the heck out of me when I would train out there. So AJ just needs to be careful. Sometimes fighters can get into such a zone where they're so set on winning a fight, and in this instance, getting revenge, getting his titles back, that they can ignore certain things. Do you know what I mean? Fighters learn to block out so much pain, so much discomfort, and they ignore certain warning signs that their body is giving them because they're just thinking, don't be soft, just push through, you'll be fine. Then they turn up in the ring on fight night and they're not fine. You know what I mean? Overtraining is a lot easier to do in sweltering heat. So anyway, it's just another thing to consider. Maybe it won't affect AJ. Maybe it's all in hand and his team and everybody else is keeping an eye on all that kind of stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about AJ with Angel Fernandez and Robert Garcia. Getting the names mixed up here. Angel Fernandez and Robert Garcia. Is AJ being overwhelmed by the stuff that he's being told? Will that be to his detriment in the ring? Or can he process all that stuff? Will he be significantly better? Is this the dream team in terms of Angel Fernandez and Robert Garcia? Will they be, the secret ingredient that AJ has needed all these years in order to make the most out of his potential, to bring the best out of him? Will that be the case? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.